Hello, I am Tanya Nardini and I'm a Brazilian director and choreographer. And since 2007, I am an associate director for Chicago the Musical all over the world. That means that this last 13 years I've been traveling all over the world, working with some amazing, talented artists from very different cultures. We've been doing this virtual meetings, almost all the Velmas, all the Roxys, all the Billies, and more and more and more from everywhere.
Oh yeah, I didn't expect it to be so big. And I gotta say that through reaching out to all those Chicago actors, and they were like, oh, hi, yes, of course. And then afterwards, they were all coming back and thanking you and me and asking questions and rebuilding these connections was something I very much didn't expect to happen. I didn't know there was room for that in their lives and in my life for them and for me in theirs. That just opened so much other stuff. Thank you for that.
That's how this little project started, connecting people outside in, inside out. Enjoy.
Ta-da! Our special guest.
Woo! Oh my God!
Yay!
Look at the beautiful music directors.
Yes.
So our special
Hi.
guest, Rob Bowman. Yay!
Yay.
Oh my God. Oh, you guys, how are you?
Good.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're
So-
from everywhere.
Everywhere. So who wants to start? Just, introduce yourself, who you are, what you've been doing, and what's your connection with us? Bryan, go.
I'm in South Africa. It's just gone 2:30 in the afternoon. My connection with the show is I've done it 3 times at 3 different periods in the last 15 years. I did it in 2005 with the original South African production, which was the beginning of the Velma career of Amrafay Wright, who, if I'm not wrong, Rob is still playing it in New York.
Not dead. Yeah.
Yeah, she was our original Velma 15 years ago. And then we did it again in 2008. And then 10 years later, got to revisit it again with Tanya and Gary in a whole new company with a few of our original company. And then had Kevin, who you'll meet, who's on the screen, who was my associate for the first part of the tour, and then he took over from me for the second tour of China. So I've always had a huge fondness for the show. I was living in New York for a brief period, and in fact I saw the matinee. I had standing room only at the back for the matinee before the show won the Tony Award. So
Wow.
It's always had a very, I saw that matinee before they won the Tony. So I stood there in the beginning of '97. I mean, on that date in '97, looking at this lot and going, this is a bucket list show for me. And 8 years later, there it was. So yeah, that's my connection.
Hi, I'm Cameron, and I'm in New York right now. It's 8:30, just past 8:30 a.m.
Hi, Cameron. Good morning.
Hi. So I've got coffee. No, my connection with the show, it's new to me. It's always been, I saw it in New York several times over the last 10 years, and it has always been a bucket list show for me too. And then in January, I was lucky enough to get a call from Bob Billig offering me the current US tour. We started rehearsals in January, went through tech, had just gotten open when all this, I think we were 3 weeks in when all this craziness hit, and we are currently on hiatus until April of next year is when the current update we have to resume. But it's such a beautiful show. It was so great to work with Tanya and Gary, and Bob Billig was our music supervisor, and then Rob came to our designer run, which was wonderful to meet him and sort of get his blessing on everything.
It was so good. It was so good. You're so good.
But it's just such a fun show, and I'm so happy to be a part of the family and getting to meet you all today.
Thank you, Cameron. Cameron was my latest musical director, because we, as he said, we started rehearsing on January, and we went to Yakima and then Spokane, and then we opened the show and I left, and 2 weeks later, stop. But you're going back.
Yes.
That's great.
Who is next?
Let's do it. So we are the team, me and Taisia. We are together. We both from Russia. I will start in English.
Oh,
and then... Yes. And the thing is that we are from Russia, but we are now in absolutely so far from each other, because I'm in South Korea and Taisia is in Georgia. Am I right? So we even not in Moscow. So far. Yes. But we are the team, and we started together. What was the year? I mean, it was 2015, I think so. Yes. Taisia, do you remember?
Taisia? I can hear
13.
you. 13.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
13.
Yes. So it was so exciting moment, because I was invited as just, to help to do audition with Tanya. It was so exciting moment. It's just unbelievable. I will never forget it, because we started to do auditions in Russia, and it was so exciting. And suddenly after audition, Tanya said, you should stay as MD. I said, no, because I have another show in another theater. And Tanya said, if you really want to do it, you should stay in the show. And there were no doubts at all. And I'm so happy, because it's really, I'm absolutely different person after the show. And thanks so much. Rob, I heard about you, Rob, so many things. It just, I
know about you.
I know that I'm really happy to meet all of you here. It's so exciting. But I just heard about Rob so many things, because I think Rob should come to Moscow, but it just planned that changed. Yes, the last moment. So.
Last minute, I couldn't. I was devastated. I mean, who doesn't want to go to Russia? So I was literally brokenhearted. I hurt like heck.
It means that we need to. It means that we need to do it again with you.
Da da da.
Yes.
Da ladna. So just for you all to know, Masha is in Korea conducting the international tour company of Phantom of the Opera right now, and they are performing. Yay!
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, we just need to go on to just to give the hope for everyone that everything will be okay, really, because I think that the main mission to do it, yes, just to give hope.
Thank you, Masha.
Amazing. Yes, nice to meet you. Yes.
Amazing. Yes. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Oh, Kevin.
Yeah. So as Bryan said, hi guys. I'm down in Cape Town in South Africa, and as Bryan said, I was his associate, and then I took over from him. And I just have to say, like, to Tanya, working with Tanya was amazing, because it's not always fun working with directors, and Tanya is just absolutely wonderful, not just obviously at her craft, but just as a human being. And bringing all of that into the rehearsal room was just absolutely marvelous and wonderful. And I miss your warm-ups, actually. You know? And we really had a great time. You know, we went to so many different places. I still think one of my favorite things was Bryan will remember was our opening night in Cologne with that audience in Cologne. Yeah. It was something absolutely, of all the shows that we did on the Chicago tours, that particular one was the most magical and the most amazing, and I'll never forget it. You know, we were already out of our dressing rooms and changed and going, you know, and the audience was still on their feet applauding, and we could hear them in the tannoys. It was quite something.
Yeah, we had a very interesting experience, Kevin and I, because after all the first year or year and a half, not sure, of the first leg of the international tour, they decided to do another run in China, but there are people that were not able to do it again. So we had people from the South African cast with new people from London rehearsing in 2 different places. I was rehearsing with the South African cast. Darren was rehearsing with the London cast. Then we all met in China for 1 day of rehearsals to put all that together in 1 day. It was an incredible experience to see how those people were respectful and with each other and with the work, and how they were passionate about it. No, really, can you imagine traveling, I don't know, 3 different planes to get into China, and get into China in the winter, very cold, in a place called Harbin. Very cold, snowing, and everybody very tired, and no one complained of anything. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Tanya.
Who wants to go next? Daniel from Australia, it's very late, or Isaac from Mexico? It's very early. Ta-da.
Very early. Yeah.
Very early.
I would rather wait. I'm still trying to waken.
Okay.
I'll go. All right.
Drink to that.
Well, hello from Australia. I am on the south coast of New South Wales, sort of away from everybody, away from everything, having a little retreat, which is nice. We finished our Australian tour of the show at the end of February, and I got straight on a plane to New York, which was kind of crazy, and came back again. It's the second time I've done the show. The first time was 10 years before that, where I met the lovely Rob and worked with him. And we had a great time. And we've seen each other a lot in New York since. And yeah, it was one of those, like a lot of you have said, it was a bucket list show to do once. And it was one of the very few things that I was really happy to do twice. So it was great. And working with Tanya for the first time this time was fantastic, and Gary for the second time. We had a great cast and a great tour, a great band. It was very surprising. No, I shouldn't say surprisingly successful, but for something that has been running for so long, we broke a bunch of box office records in Melbourne, which is kind of amazing. In a 2,500 seat theater.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done, Daniel.
I know. Yeah. What about that? And that was the end of our tour in February. Yeah, it was a thrill. It's such a great score. It gives you something every single night. And Rob and I have talked about a lot, how you always find something new.
That's Daniel.
Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Hey, Isaac.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you. I'm here in Mexico City. It's very early. It's the earliest. It's 8 in the morning. And as for Daniel, it was my second time doing the show. First time was 15 years ago, but for me, this was like the first time. It was the first time I had the opportunity to work with Tanya and with Rob Fisher, and my darling Rob Bowman. And it was amazing. And we never in Mexico expected the show to have the success it was having. So it's twice as tragic the way it ended, because we only were running for 6 months before the pandemics entered the country. We were still rehearsing our third cast, and house was full. We were having a great response from the audience in Mexico. We were very enthusiastic. It was going to be a great experience it was a great experience for all of us, but it ended from one day to like that. It was very, very sudden the way we ended. We didn't have the opportunity to say goodbye.
It still can happen. You never know.
Yes.
Still can happen. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The fact that you didn't say goodbye. First of all, I know your company in Mexico. They all played every night as the only one. They were very connected and strong, the Mexican company. So every night, I bet they were playing like that's the only one. So, which is great. And the fact that you didn't say goodbye might mean that it's not time to say goodbye yet. So let's hope for the best.
I hope so.
Yes. I'm so grateful to Tanya and to Rob for the great experience of doing this show. As all you know, Tanya has a special touch for making the rehearsal space almost a religious one. It has it's so quiet, so safe, so friendly, so full of love, but at the same time so strict. It was quite amazing. And Rob, I love you, man. I miss you.
Isaac! Oh!
Muchas gracias, Isaac. So I met Rob Bowman in 2013, I think, right? Yeah.
I think so.
We were rehearsing in London. That was December, London, very cold, like, and you all know me, I'm cold, very cold, everything, right, Cameron?
Every day in the hotel, walking out in New York, the favorite was that there was one morning it was so bad she walked out the door, went nope, and turned around and walked back in the hotel to go get more layers.
Very cold. I'm from Brazil, and it's very cold. So first time I saw Rob Bowman, we haven't met him. We were going to do a UK cast to take them to China. So we met downstairs in the hotel to go to walk to the Pineapple Studio. And I saw this man in shorts and t-shirt. That was him. Hey, Rob, now it's your turn.
Me?
Yes.
No, I'm just sort of hovering. I'm just sort of,
it's your turn.
The fly on the wall. No, I don't want it to be about me.
Tell us the stories, ask us questions, whatever you want. You're the surprise guest and a very special guest.
Come on.
Well, I just say it's we all love the show so much, and if we could figure out what it is about Chicago that draws us to it, it would be great, because there's just on so many levels. And I know I started the show, Rob Fisher called me in '96. He had conducted the show for only a couple of weeks, and he said, me, I'm out of here. Do you want to take over the Broadway company? And hamina. I still have the New York Times where we were on the front page. The front page of the New York Times, the review. So, and it was a dream of mine, because in 1975 Christmas, under my Christmas tree, I had the Chorus Line record and the Chicago record, both cast albums, like in the front of my tree. And when I heard Chorus Line, I'd never heard any music like that before. It was really da 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 da, and I loved it. But when I heard that Chicago overture, and when I heard 5, 6, 7, 8, A 5, 6, 7, 8.
A 5, 6, 7, 8.
A 5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8.
And I literally just got up and I'm like, and I went, and I was never heard anything that I loved more, ever. And I like a geek, because what, 75, how old was I? High school. And I remember pointing to the record player and going, that's what I want to do. You know, whatever that was. So it's been a dream. And that's what I love hearing from other music directors too. It's a dream show for so many of us. You know, it's such a beautiful score. And that book, you know, the economy of, you know, the number of words they have, it's just like a razor sharp satire. And I'm sure you guys know too, you can have your grandma, mom, and brother go to the show and they'll get 3 different experiences. You know, like I said, grandma loves all the feathers and stuff. And my brother went, that's one of the darkest shows I've ever seen. Yeah. It's wonderful. And I did Broadway for 7 years and I loved it. And that was when the revolving door thing started. And as you all know, in 2003 is when my aorta tore in 2. So I was out of the business for a while, and they, you know, Rob Fisher asked if I would be interested in doing the international productions, which is great because you don't have to get up there and do all that. So my first production was Australia with Mr. Daniel. Whenever, 11 years ago, was it? 11? Yeah. And I had so much fun.
Yes, 2009.
Yeah. And then I did a whole bunch after that, but every production was very special. And to work with casts and to really work with, because, you know, we don't get a chance to do this as musicians, you know, to be a supervisor or whatever the hell that is. But to get to work with music directors around the world, for me, I just think there's no better gift. So honored to ever be a part of any production. I wish I could do every single one. Leslie Stifelman, who took over for me in 2003, she conducted this for 15 years. So she decided to step down, and Barry Weiser called and said, do you want your old job back? And I was like, wow. So I've been back with the Broadway company ever since.
We were in Australia, I think, when that happened.
Yeah,
we were in Australia. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but it's been so exciting to be back. And what you guys know, I really miss. I didn't realize how much I missed actually getting up there and beating this show out. How much fun it is to do, and how thrilling. And no matter what I give it, which is everything I can, but no matter what I give it, I get back so much more in return.
Yes.
Always. And do y'all remember the first time you saw Roxy, or the first time you saw the show? When I saw Anne Rankin do Roxy, I remember like I had to breathe out because I stopped breathing. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah.
And Bebe Neuwirth was like, how? You know, this company was, and All That Jazz scared the hell out of me. There was something about All That Jazz. And I'm going, oh, I love this. I knew the song, but it scared me. That company's intensity scared the hell out of me. All right, that's enough about me. I don't want to talk anymore. Bye.
Mr. Rob Bowman, yay!
I love you all. It's really, again, that's my main point. It's such a joy to work with all of you. And I'm sad the ones I haven't, but it's so great to be with musicians. And because I have learned so much from all of you guys. It's always, the hardest thing for me is leaving, you know? It's so hard. You sit on that plane and it's really hard. It's hard to walk away, but it just lives here forever. And I get a little weird. I think about Chicago, and I really think about the people I've met and the music directors I've worked with. And it puts me right back in a good place.
Yeah.
I love you all.
Something I want to share with everybody who might not know the story, but which it still is so inspiring. I mean, and that was, you weren't there, Tanya, was the beginning of the tour, which started in Auckland. Tanya had rehearsed us in South Africa, and then she left us and abandoned us because she joined a better company in France. No,
She did.
Said,
That's because she got Anne ranking.
sadly did not join us all the way to our opening night in Auckland. So, and that was the start of our year-long tour, you see. So, you know which story I'm going to tell, Kevin?
Oh, yeah.
So we get to Auckland, and we get to Auckland on like the Tuesday, Wednesday, and our first performance with a new company who have never done it before is on the Saturday. And we get to Auckland, and our Val McKelly, her Samantha Pio, goes down. She has a chest infection. She's got no voice. She's down. So what happened was her understudy hadn't been rehearsed in yet, but had been observing all the way through the show. And she stepped in for the first tech on the Wednesday evening, but she just was not in a place to open a tour. And so we know that Saturday is our first preview in the afternoon, and it's now Thursday, New Zealand time, and our British producer Max Thinbo comes to me and he says, let Raquel just do the tech. Amra is flying in to do the opening weekend and the opening performance. And you talk about long travel, arriving somewhere and adapting. This was inspiring to see. Amra, yes, I mean, she's done it how many thousand performances, but she flew across 11 time zones. It was 2 flights, 20 hours of flying. She arrived on the Saturday morning. She went to her hotel. She had a meal. She had a shower. She arrived at the theater about 11 o'clock. And she said, all I want to see, all I want to take is the jazz lift, the Velma chair, and one other thing in Hot Honey. That was all. And 3 hours later, she went on with the company who were doing their first performance. And she was with us for 6 performances. It was the most extraordinary and inspiring thing to see.
And when we went back to China the second time, and we had that short time for rehearsing, also I had 4.5 hours with the band. I had 4 new people joining the band. So yeah, 4.5 hours to rehearse the band, which was scary. And then we had to go straight into tech from the rehearsal room, and we hadn't had a zitz. We had half the cast was new, and also we had no tuba throughout the rehearsal because in the flight case, because the containers had been standing in the freezing air at -17 degrees. That was during the day. One of the valves, the spring in one of the tuba valves had frozen, and our player didn't know, and he just really gave it a good old thug, and it snapped. And then we didn't have a tuba. There was no tuba that could be found in Harbin, so we had to fly a tuba in from Beijing, which could only arrive the next day. Yeah, and we just had other, little technical problems, like Tanya told you about, not being allowed to use shoes in rehearsal rooms. In fact, the band rehearsal room and the cast rehearsal room was the same room in Harbin. So I was under a lot of pressure to try and get the band through the entire school, so that the band could clear off the room, so that the room could be marked out for the cast. So the cast could come in, and then we could run Act 1 and run Act 2. Lots of fun. But we did it. We did it.
We did it.
When we got to Yakima and Tech, we had some issues. We found out right after the designer run, we sat down in the room and were told that some of the trucks were going to be days late arriving with the scenery and all the trucks with the musical equipment. So we lost we were supposed to have 2 4-hour band calls, and we lost our first day of band calls. we got the second one. They were it was an all new band. Nobody had done the show before. It was a bit rough. Got through it. The next morning, Bob and I walk across the stage just to see how the bandstand is looking, and we stop center stage. There's nobody around, and we look at the drum kit and go, shit. We call the music coordinator out and says, JP, do you see something wrong with this? He goes, no, why? They got it set up. It looks great. It looks great. It was a sparkling blue, bright blue drum set. And it was a rental.
It always is.
And he was like, what?
I want to tell one small story that's absolutely not attached to the music team of the show. I will turn in Russian, and Tася will translate. Tася, пожалуйста, помоги мне. Это было в один из первых спектаклей, то есть мы только начали играть, и вроде бы все стало бы вроде нормально. Я буду паузу делать, да?
It was one of the first shows after the opening night, and we kind of got into the flow, and we started doing, everything started to be okay, finally.
И шоу обрастало новыми красками, уверенностью, какой-то жизнью.
And the show was becoming more colorful, everyone was becoming more certain of what they're doing. There was a lot of life happening.
И вдруг неожиданно в самом начале спектакля на номере All the Jazz что-то случилось с пультом света, с консолью света. Я не знаю, ты знаешь сама эту историю?
Я не помню. Suddenly, at the very beginning of the show, in All the Jazz, the lighting board went crazy. Something happened to it.
И самое смешное, что как бы свет, у нас номер превратился в дискотеку, то есть появились все цвета радуги, все, и совершенно рандомно, да, то есть свет появлялся то там, то тут, но самое главное, что это был таким большим стрессом для оркестра, да, все артисты играли в полной темноте, все, что они делали, не было видно никому. Просто никому. Но зато оркестр был высвечен периодически. Каждый из музыкантов был в таком стрессе, потому что они не привыкли быть на виду, и это было просто с таким стрессом для каждого.
So the lighting board went nuts, and it turned the house into a disco ball. There were all colors of the rainbow, and the fixture was blinking and shining at every moment. Nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew which fixture was going to light whom at what moment. It was going completely crazy. Cast was completely invisible, but the orchestra would get with the light. Every single one of them would get the light at a certain point during this debacle, and they were going gray and sweating and very, very, very miserable because they're not used to that much attention, to being in the center of attention, A, and B, had the lights on them. So that was so crazy.
Поскольку я видела глаза каждого из них и лицо каждого, да, потому что я стою лицом к оркестру, то это просто стресс и ужас в глазах каждого музыканта, это было просто нечто. То есть никто этого не ожидал, мы все, конечно, вырулили, в итоге все было хорошо, шоу не остановилось, но это был очень такой яркий момент, как воспоминание.
Masha could see the eyes of every single one of the orchestra members, and every single one of them was 100% stressed and terrified of what was going on. There was no show stop. They somehow figured out the problem and continued with the show, but that was a very memorable thing about that.
Have any of you ever had to give a cue because an actor went up on a line for the show?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had two things.
We had our Billy miss the entrance to courtroom, which was pretty good.
Oh, the courtroom.
Courtroom. Wow.
He was about 15 seconds late, and that's a long time.
Did you just keep clanking?
No.
The audience going, ooh.
No, Mary Sunshine filled. She did great.
Oh, so the last summation. The last summation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, the summation.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, the summation.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done it for a while.
I had to sing one of Ian Kelsey's lines to him during Razzle Dazzle when he's on the staircase next to the conductor during Razzle Dazzle, and he just went blank, and he looked at me, And I just started singing the line to him, and he was like, "Oh, that's the one," and he carried on.
See, that can happen. Kathy, how's the Mignon situation?
So she just finished her music rehearsal, so she cannot get another device. But somehow with her phone now, she can't get in. So
I'm very grateful that you accepted the invitation, that
you.
you're all here, and I don't want to take much more of your time. So Kathy, can you tell Mignon to send a message to Rob and myself because we miss her?
Okay.
Yes. So thank you very much.
Mignon said hi and she misses you.
Thank you.
Oh, give Mignon our love.
She's sending her love.
Did you realize what's the password for this meeting?
5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you very much.
As I typed it in, I loved it.
Yeah.
So before we finish our meeting, can you all say a 5, 6, 7, 8 as you say in the show?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, all together. And go.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Someone has to conduct that.
I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, and I won't do 4. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. A 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Spasiba, muchas gracias. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Bye.